What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Mike here from People's Choice Gaming, and this is part 2 of the two-part Damage 2.0 mini-series. This is where I'm going to go more in depth and explain a few bugs and explain the application of all this new stuff, your builds, enemies, all that good stuff. Also, all the links will be in both of these videos for everything, I'm showing you. Now, this is a nice little cheat sheet the devs put up, or Warframe put up, and everything in that graph I showed you, that's all this is here that I'm moving my mouse around. Combined types, your primary elements, we already talked about that in part 1. And this here is just kind of showing you individual weapons, which I'm going to do in the arsenal, and going through the different physical damage types. And this is talking about physical damage, period. Now, what I want to talk about first, before I get to the arsenal and the codex of the game to explain more and the builds and stuff, is show you basically how all the 3 enemies types work now. Infested, we'll start with Infested. They now only have health. I'm talking all Infested. Every type of Infested only has health. No shields, no armor. Remember that. Corpus, they have a little bit of health, but much heavier shields and no armor. All Corpus. Every type of Corpus. Moas, Ospreys, every type. Grineer, heavily armored ones, which, by the way, you're going to see mainly all heavily armored when you run through a map, especially towards endgame content. The newer enemy types are pretty much all heavily armored, so you're not going to run into that many lightly armored. So don't worry about doing stuff in your build, for the lightly armored ones. You'll do plenty enough damage to wipe them out anyways quickly. Heavily armored is what you want to worry about. But anyways, heavily armored are going to be very little health, and they're going to have very heavy shields. They're going to have very little health and very heavy armor and no shields. Lightly armored Grineer are going to have very little armor and very heavy health and then no shields. And that's how it works. If you forget this info I'm telling you, go back here and look. Read what I'm highlighting right here, and it tells you exactly what I just said. Very cut and dry and simple. Up here, it tells you what I said in the part 1 video. Impact, most effective against shields. Puncture, most effective against armor. Slash, most effective on health. And, infested. But this is very basic right here. It's much better if you look at the graph, because on the graph, it shows you all the bonuses. How impact is shield and robotic, and bad against infested, and flat against armor and flesh. Puncture is good against armor and robotic. Slash is good against flesh and infested. And if you didn't watch the part 1 video, definitely go watch it. And if for some reason you didn't watch it, the biggest thing I need to let you know is flesh is broke. Nothing that gives a flesh bonus is going to happen. The bonus will not happen. It's broke. Once they fix it, then it'll be all good. And I'll let you know when they fix it, but it's not fixed yet. Now, that's all I want to show on this cheat sheet, is how your new enemy types work. Now, let's jump into the game so I can talk about modding and the application with all the new information we learned. Alright guys, before I get into the builds, I want to show you something really cool really quick. Now, the Codex is something new that you grab in the game, and you buy it. It's not that expensive. You put it in your gear, and you need to be pulling it out in combat, out of your gear, scanning every target, however many times it takes, so that they're in your Codex. The more times you scan, the more info you get. I want to show you why this is important. If you go to enemies, check it out. I scanned a few already. I scanned the Shockwave Moa a lot. So look at all the information I got. All the drops, almost. I got how much shields he has, how much health he has. Remember I said they have a lot of shield and a little bit of health? I think the health should be even lower and the shield should be even higher, or it should be a bigger difference. But, you know, regardless, they have a lot of shields, very little health. It shows it all. It shows the regions. If you go back, I only scanned the runner like once, so look, barely any information. So that's how it works. And look, health 80, no armor, no shields. So just like I told you, it shows you in the Codex as well. Alid V. Now check this out. Alid V has armor, a ton of shields, but yes, he does have armor. Now, this is because the whole Grineer, Corpus, and Infested, how I talked about the armor, shields, and health with each one, bosses do not fall into that cheat sheet. Bosses have their own thing going on. Now, if you want to know exactly how much shields, armor, or health each boss has, go scan them. Very simple, easiest way, go scan them. Now let's jump over to the arsenal and explain stuff a little bit better. So, Orthos Prime. Remember how I talked about impact, puncture, and slash? Well, there it is. It shows you on the bottom right. So, we got 42 slash for the Orthos Prime, but only 9 impact and puncture. Well, what's that tell you? You're going to do pretty crap damage against shields and armor. So, would you melee Corpus and Grineer? I don't think so. Not unless you really build it up. So, what are you really going to do well with the Orthos Prime right now? Infested. Because the slash is very high. The others aren't. It's very easy to understand. And while we're on melee, let's get through something else that was not explained by the devs. Charge attacks. What are charge attacks? Do they have any impact, puncture, or slash? And how do they work? Well, from what I've seen, charge attacks seem to be like their own base damage. Now, it's strange because it was kind of hard to fully understand. I went in with a few weapons and I charge attack over 100 times and I never got a proc. So it really leads me to believe there can't be any of these three. But I did do better on some enemies than others with charge attacks. So I feel like charge attacks might have, one damage type, and it's probably the damage type that's highest, which, like for the Orthos Prime, would be slash. But that's something that I'm kind of waiting to talk to the devs about and do a little more testing with. But what I can tell you is, with the charge attacks, when you're going to build your weapon for a charge build, you can put all the mods on you want that directly relate to charge damage and a charge build, and you can put on all the elemental mods you want, and those will all apply to your charge damage. But you cannot put on any impact, any slash, or any AP mods, which go to puncture, because if you do, you will not get extra damage for your charge attacks, because they will apply to your base damage, considering these 3 damages are now all base damage, and your base damage has nothing to do with your charge attack damage. So on a charge build, do not use impact, puncture, or slash thinking you're going to get any damage. You won't. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say, because I haven't been able to figure out anything else with the charge attacks. I mean, I literally did 100 charge attacks and I'd never seen a proc. So, one might have came through, but it's hard to tell. Now, what I'm guessing the devs are going to do is, if the charge attack damage does have a predominant damage type like slash, impact, or puncture, which it has to, because it would be completely hypocritical to have this new base damage type, impact, puncture, and slash, this whole new damage type, and for charge attacks to not have any type of damage type. You can't just say it's damage. That's what they're trying to get away from. So just wait a little bit till the devs touch up on this. Now, let's go to modding. We got Sicaris Prime, impact, puncture, and slash. You see it down in the bottom right. Also, if you use a weapon like the Ignis or Synapse, they can have a base damage of elemental, like fire or heat, which is just like it was before. And something else interesting, the Ogress starts with a base damage that's a combined element, so pretty cool. Blast damage. So that's pretty neat. So if you want to know what your Ogress is good against, then, or best against, you need to go to that graph, go under Blast, and see what bonuses Blast gives. Very simple. Now, as for modding, let's say you want your Sicaris to be awesome against Grineer, elemental-wise. Well, Corrosive is the best combo against Grineer. Magnetic is best against Corpus. So I need Electricity, and I need Toxic. Oh, we're not gonna... I don't have the Toxic for the pistol. So let's show you on the primary weapon. Alright. See how I have Electricity and then Toxic damage first? Now watch what happens. It says Corrosive down here, 122 damage. Because that's the total damage from Electricity and Toxic added together to give me the 122. And the new damage type is Corrosive. Very, very simple, guys. Make sure the combined element you're looking for starts before any other element. Now, I wanted some extra fire damage. If I would have put fire before Electricity, then it would have took fire and Electricity as my combined element, because they were first. And Toxic would have been my spare element, which would have been by itself. So, they got to go from top left to bottom right. Do not forget this, or you'll have a completely messed up build. And to get your elemental damage, let's see here. I'll show you how that happens. So 122 corrosive. How did that happen? Well, I got 7.4 impact, 29.6 puncture, and 37 slash. All those added up gives you your total. And then this is 90%, this is 75, so that they average that out. And basically you multiply it by your base damage. So let me show you an easier example here. Sicaris Prime. We'll go ahead and slap on a full electric. So 28.8 electricity. So 12.8 plus 9.6 plus 9.86. You take that total, times it by the 90% electricity mod. That gives you your electricity damage. That's exactly the way it used to work before. Very simple. Base damage times your elemental mod. Now something you need to know is if you put on Hornet Strike, Serration, or any mod that ups physical damage, it's going to up all three of the damage types that make up your base damage. So I'll show you here. We got 12, 9, 9. Now let's put on Hornet Strike. Well, now we got 38, 28, 28, because that ups all those. And that is going to make your elemental mod do more damage, because your elemental mod multiplies against your base damage. But here's the thing you need to know. This ups your total base damage, Hornet Strike. But if you use individual mods that up the individual parts of your base damage, like impact, slash, or puncture, like watch, impact. It will up your impact because it's an impact damage mod, but that the amount that it upped it is not going to count for when you multiply your electricity. So make sure when you're trying to figure out your elemental's damage, You don't try to add in the extra amount that any of these individually got from an individual mod, like impact, slash, or puncture. That's pretty much the best way I can explain it. Now, last thing before I head out of here, let's talk about, and if you want to know about what the best builds are for every weapon, obviously I can't tell you that. I'm going to redo all the weapons in the game with all the most amazing builds and variety of builds. So, you know, just wait for that. Now, what about a weapon that already starts with an elemental, like the Synapse? It's electricity. See, electricity? If I put on toxic, it should make corrosive, right? And it does. Here's the problem. If I put on another mod, even if it's after, it should be fine, right? Wrong. It now turned electricity, or turned corrosive into gas. It's not what we wanted. Why did this happen? Well, because the formula they use, and I don't know if they attended for this or if they didn't attend for this, but it's a formula that they show, they do tell us what it is, and it uses parentheses, and it's not meant for, well, basically it doesn't work for weapons that start with an element. And it ends up making your build start from the bottom and go from the bottom right to the top left, backwards. That's why it screws up your combos. So then how do we get the combo we want and still add other elementals? I figured it out, and I'm going to tell you now. What you got to do is you got to still add the mods. So corrosive is electricity and toxic. So we're going to put in electricity and toxic. And bam, we get corrosive. Now watch when I add fire afterwards. Are we going to get screwed and is it going to turn to gas? No. It's still corrosive like we want, and we got the extra heat elemental by itself. So there's your fix, guys. That's how you got to do it. Also, what if you want two combos, like gas and corrosive? That is fine. Completely fine. Put all 4 mods in. It will work. I'm not going to show you because I'm telling you it works fine. And I think that is everything that you need to know. I cannot think of anything else. Oh, are there body shot multipliers still? Yes. If you shoot in the head, you'll do ×2 damage. So you're going to need to apply that to the math when you're trying to figure out your total damage. We still have body shot multipliers. And I think that's all. And the head is the only one that I think we have. I think the headshots are the only extra body shot multipliers. Now the head might be different. Like on a MOA, it might still be midsection, you know, but you can figure that out yourself. Very simple. You shoot, if you do ×2 damage, that's their head, you know, or they don't have a head. You could test that out yourself. But yes, we have headshot multipliers. And I think that's all the info you need. You now know all about physical damage. You know how it works. You know how to increase it. You know about elemental. You know about the combos. You know about procs. Really quickly, let me show you what the proc stuff is. See down at the bottom right how it says 10% status on the Synapse? That means you have a 10% status to land a proc effect, or to proc a status effect. Now, if you throw on the mod for status, which is Rifle Aptitude, it's going to go up to 15% fully ranked. It's going to up your status. But it's a multiplicative process, and it sucks. So obviously, 2.5% only takes me from 10% to 10.3. You know, and 15% would only raise 10% to 11.5, which completely sucks. So do not put status mods on. Don't even worry about status. But if you want to, for some odd reason, there you go. That's how you do it. And this is what you look at, your status. So that covers procs. We've covered charge damage. We've covered melee. The best combined elements for Grenier are corrosive. The best for Corpus is magnetic, and until they fix flesh, the best for infested is fire, 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 which I'll show you right here. Fire, fire. That's the best for infested. 111 heat, straight up. No combined element, because viral does not work yet. When it does, viral will be best. And I think that's all you guys need to know. I've told you about how everything applies to the game. Told you all the different numbers, the bugs, the workarounds, and the best combos. I can't think of anything else. I know both parts of these videos are long videos, but I'm the only person right now that is giving you all this information, and this information is going to last a long, long, long time while Damage 2.0 stays in effect. So you need to know it. You'll never need to hear all this again because, you know, it's already done with. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video and all the information. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch. Link will be in the description. And stay tuned for all the new weapons in the game, all the new builds will be coming your way. And yeah, I hope you guys are ready. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.